go ahead and continue on and do the next pie piece. So it says ridge 1 is knit 2, wrap and turn, knit 2. One thing I'm going to point out while we're doing this, and I'm going to switch things up just for a second and show you the edge here that I'm working on. Because I knitted every time we started this edge, I always knit the stitch. It kind of leaves a ragged join or a ragged edge. Because we did a jagged edge here, it'll be a little harder to pick up stitches along this edge when it comes time for that. So I'm going to show you a little trick here to make this edge much neater. We're going to slip the first stitch instead of knit it. So I'm going to, on this set of pie pieces, I'm going to just slip this first stitch every time, and we'll look to see the difference. So you'll see what it looks like if you were to knit it every row or slip it. So this time the direction says to knit 2, wrap and turn, knit 2. So I am going to always slip the first stitch. So I'm going to go into the stitch as if to purl. My yarn is in front. I'm going to go into the stitch as if to purl and just slide it off. And then I'm going to bring my yarn to the back. That's stitch 1. Even though we didn't work it, we're going to count it as part of the knit 2. So that was knit 1. And then we're going to knit the next stitch. So we have our knit 2. And then it says to do a wrap and turn. Bring my yarn to the front, slip the next stitch, bring my yarn back, slip the stitch back over, turn my work, bring my yarn to the back, knit 2. So this time I'm going to knit both stitches, even that slipped stitch there that I started with. Okay, we've just completed ridge 1. Now I'm going to work ridge 2, and it says to knit 4. But again, I'm going to slip that first stitch and count it as a stitch. So I bring my yarn in front, I slip it as if to purl, then I bring my yarn to the back, and now I'm going to knit. It says to knit 4. So there's our first stitch. 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to do a wrap and turn. Bring my yarn to the front, slip it, bring my yarn to the back, slip the stitch back over to the left needle, turn my work, bring my yarn back to the back, and then it says knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm ready to work ridge 3. And it says to knit 6. I'm going to slip the first stitch, and then I'm going to knit the rest. So there's stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wrap and turn, bring my yarn forward, slip it, bring my yarn back, slip it back, turn my work, bring my yarn back to the back, and knit 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to do ridge 4. ridge 4 is knit 8. I'm going to slip the first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, wrap and turn, yarn in front, slip, yarn in back, slip the stitch back over to the left needle, turn, move my yarn to the back, and then complete the 8 stitches, knit 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hear my kitty cat in the background. 5, 6, 7, 8. So let me just stop here for just a second. We just completed ridge 4. I want to show you the difference in how this edge stitch is looking compared to the first ridges I did and now where I started slipping the stitches. You'll see here that there's actually, this opens up a little hole between the stitches, between the rows. Do you see those little holes? When we come back around and are ready to do our connecting rows later on in the pattern, it'll be a lot easier to pick up stitches along this edge if we have slipped the first stitch. It's a whole lot easier to pick up stitches than it is along this edge. You can still pick up stitches here, it's just a little harder to see. You can still do it, but if you can remember to always slip the first stitch on these ridge rows, slip the first time we encounter the stitch, you'll get a nicer, neater edge, and it makes it easier further on in the pattern. So we just completed ridge 4. Now we're going to do ridge 5, which is knit 6. I'm going to slip the first stitch. That's stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wrap and turn. There's the wrap, then the turn, and then knit 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last part is ridge 6, and it says to knit 4, wrap and turn, knit 4. We're going to slip the first stitch, and then we're going to knit 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, wrap and turn, knit 4, and this will complete ridge 6. So we've now done ridges 1 through 6 2 times. We've created 2 pie pieces, 2 pie pieces, and as you can see, here's the first pie piece from our cast on edge to here. That was our first pie piece, and now from this section to here is our second pie piece. You'll continue to do these 6 ridges until you've come all the way around and you've meet this edge. You're going to work this pie piece 6, 7, 8 times depending on the yarn and depending on the tension. You're going to continue to work these pie pieces until you have gone all the way around. The more pie pieces you add, the more it's going to come around until you have met this edge. When you get all the way around and you meet this edge, the directions will tell you how to seam the seam right here. You'll take the long tail that you have left, a long tail, and you'll use this tail to seam the stitches that meet here. You'll seam them. Then you start, the next part of the pattern is you start working short rows, but you're going to be picking up stitches along the edge. And you're going to keep increasing your circle to be bigger and bigger, and you're always going to be picking up stitches along this curved edge. So I hope that helps. I think we went slower this time. Hopefully I didn't confuse you anymore, but if you can add that slipped stitch edge, you'll thank yourself later in the pattern. It will turn out just fine if you don't slip it. You can figure out how to pick up stitches along this jagged edge. It's just a little easier if you do it on the slipped edge. But we worked 2 puzzle pieces. You continue to do puzzle pieces until you come back around to this edge, and then you seam up that edge and you'll have your circle. So I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of a 10 stitch blanket that I did, and just give you some hints on that. So all right, here is a 10 stitch blanket that I started a while back and I'm still working on. You can see here the pie pieces. I'm using a yarn that automatically changes colors as we go. So you can see here is the seam when you work all your pie pieces and you make your seam. So here's my pie pieces. I started doing just what we did, and I kept going around and around until I made a circle, and then I joined the 2 parts of the circle. And then I started here, and I was still working short rows, and I was picking up stitches along the outer edge of that first circle. So I was picking up stitches until I had 10 stitches, and then I continue picking up stitches around this outer ring, and we continue with the blanket. So always having that slip stitch along there made it so much easier to pick up and join. Let me show you what this side looks like. It has a little bit smoother of a join on this back side. This is actually, I think, the prettier side. Some folks like to see the ridge bumps. I like it to be kind of blended. You can't really see the ridge bumps. So either side is okay. It's up to you which one you like more. But you can see here our center stitches, and then we start with the increases, and we get back up to, we started with just a few stitches. When you get to this part of the directions, you have to start building yourself back up to 10 stitches, and it shows you in the directions how to increase. But you're going to build yourself back up to 10 stitches. Then once your 10 stitches are back on, you keep following the directions, and now your little circle continues to go around and around and around. I hope this has helped you. Please give me any comments and questions below in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and if you have any other ideas for future videos, please let me know in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Bye.